Hello Scotties, I'm Anna Morris. Today we would like to welcome back former Sarah Scott Social Studies teacher and current Interim Superintendent, Dr. B. Welcome back to Sarah Scott, Dr. B. So today, Scotties, let us learn a little more about our new superintendent. Tell us where you're from and what high school did you attend?
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you, Anna, for inviting me back here to Sarah Scott. I used to teach here quite some time ago. You may ask me questions about that later. I am originally from East Chicago, Indiana. That's where I grew up, and I went to a high school called Bishop Knoll, and I graduated in 1989, a long time ago, but came to Indiana State and started to go to college here after I graduated.
So, did you graduate early by any chance? Because some people usually do.
I did not graduate early. It took 4 years to graduate from high school like most people. I don't think I was that smart.
Well, you're a superintendent now.
I know. It's just kind of odd for me starting here all those years ago. Mr. Smo was here a year before I came here, and then I started here, and I was here for about 6 years. I was started in the old building, and they constructed a new building, and actually I had Mrs. Brown's children here too.
Okay, next question. What did you like to do growing up, and are you still able to do it today?
You know, I liked riding bikes when I was little, and I love that, and I still have a bike today, and I ride it quite often. I actually ride my bike to work sometimes in the summer because I like riding my bike so much. So that's probably one of the things that I really enjoy in life is just exercise, but bike riding is probably one of those things.
Have you ever ridden a dual bike?
I have ridden a tandem bike, and at Indiana State I was in the tandem competition one year where I rode a tandem bike. Yeah, I love tandem bikes, they're fun.
Okay. Who was the best teacher you ever had and why?
I had a teacher in 7th and 8th grade. Her name was Sister Agnes Marie. She was a nun, and she taught math. I was not very good at math, and she was able to reach me and teach me. I didn't even know my math facts in 7th grade, all of them. I know it's kind of embarrassing, I guess, but I really struggled, and she brought me to where I needed to be in math, but she was a very tough teacher, very demanding teacher, and sometimes you need that in life, to have that tough and demanding teacher. And she's what I needed. It's not what I wanted, but sometimes in life you don't get what you want, you get what you need, right? Yep.
So you went to a private school?
I did. I went to a public school, and then my parents switched me out of the public school and put me into Catholic school.
I went to one too. I went to St. Pat's.
Oh, did you really? Till what grade?
So we had to move because we were moving into a new house, so we wouldn't be in the district.
Right.
So it was in it for kindergarten. My siblings, they were up until, I want to say, 4th grade.
Okay. Very
So
good.
since
Awesome.
I'm 3 years apart from the
You had to wear a
oldest.
uniform then.
I
Yeah.
like the uniforms personally.
Pretty easy, isn't it? Just wake up and put on the uniform.
Of all the jobs in the world, why did you choose to become a teacher?
Well, I wanted to be a lawyer. Well, before that, I wanted to be a pirate, but that's not a lot of jobs for pirates. So I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a policeman. Those didn't work out for me, but I always loved working with kids, and so really at the last minute, in my 4th year of college, I decided to become a teacher, and it was probably the best decision I ever made. And then I was able to get a job here at Sarah Scott, working half-time as a half-time teacher, and it led to this long career that I have now.
I want to become a lawyer, but a lot of years of college, so.
Well, you got to want to become a pirate before you become a lawyer, like I did, if you're going to take the same track.
After becoming a social studies teacher, dean, assistant principal, have you always wanted to be a superintendent?
No, definitely not. I never thought I would be in this position. In fact, I made decisions in my life to try to move up and do some things different in life, but my favorite job was being a teacher, and I loved it. I loved the students. I had both of your parents as my students, and I cherish those relationships that I have with those individuals still today. Actually, I saw your mom and dad at graduation here last year, and I just love seeing my former students, especially the ones I taught. It's very meaningful to me. And so that was probably my favorite thing. Thinking about becoming superintendent, I guess when I was principal, I guess it started crossing my mind a little bit. When I became assistant superintendent, probably a little bit more, but it was never my intention to do this.
Do you enjoy it more?
Do I enjoy it? I've been doing this for 6 weeks, so hard to know how much I enjoy it at this point. I love coming to schools and talking to students and meeting teachers. That's a really fun thing. There's some things about the job that are a little bit more, probably not as fun as that, but you got to take everything as it comes in life, and that's the way I look at this job.
That's sweet. How many superintendents have you worked for?
Great question. I have worked for actually 4 superintendents, I believe. I started with Mr. Clark. He was the superintendent that hired me. I think Mr. Clark hired Mr. Smodilla too. And then we had, I think her name was Betty Poindexter, and she was here a hot minute, literally a hot minute, and maybe a year. And then Dr. Chanuse came in, and he was superintendent for about 20 years. And then Dr. Hayworth, and you know, I enjoyed working for everybody that was a superintendent.
How do you think you're different from past superintendents?
Oh boy, that's that's a good question, because it makes me want to say that I understand things better, but I don't. I think I'm a people person, and not that those other people weren't people, but I really believe in the power of relationships with people and working hard. I'm a realist. I, believe that through hard work, good things will come. And I don't know if that makes me different than anybody, but I just I'm a fixer. I like to fix things and make things better. And so in this role, that's what I want to try to do, is to make things better for people.
What makes this job interesting?
I would say just the sheer responsibility. I'm responsible for everything in the school corporation, and that is kind of daunting at certain points. Like, oh my goodness, I woke up the first day and I thought, holy cow, I'm responsible for every building, every person in every building, every student in every building. We have over 2,000 employees and over 13,000 students.
In Vigo County?
In Vigo County, 13,000 students and over 2,000 employees. So that's a pretty big responsibility to wake up one day and think, oh my goodness, I'm in charge of all this, I'm responsible for it. And so the good, the bad, and the indifferent, I'm responsible for. But I kind of like that a little bit, but at the same time, there's some fear in that too.
What is the toughest part about being superintendent?
Yeah, I would say the toughest part are dealing with issues with student discipline issues that are bigger, or staff discipline issues are probably the biggest thing. But probably the biggest thing is everybody wants something and they want to be satisfied. And I know that I'm not going to be able to satisfy everybody because there's just some things that probably I can't fix, and that's always disappointing. Like I said, I'm a fixer. I like to make things better. And when I can't fix things, it's very frustrating for me. But I have to be able to understand that too, that some things I just can't fix. Like kids, they don't want to have homework. That's not something I could fix. I've been asked that already today, haven't I? But I just can't fix the homework thing.
How about recess?
How about recess? Yeah, I was asked about recess here. Where did recess go? I didn't know recess was gone. So I'm going to have to look at the recess thing. I think recess is important, but there's probably a reason why it was taken away. But I'm going to investigate that one a little bit more, the recess thing. How much time do you want? An hour, hour and a half?
Let's give it 30 minutes.
30 minutes, solid 30 minutes. Okay, we could look at that.
What is the most rewarding part about being superintendent?
Probably getting to know people. Like, I didn't know you before I walked in here, and now I know you. I know that you exist in this world, and that I know your parents, so that's something special to me. I didn't know your coworkers here that are helping you, your fellow students, so I didn't know them either. And I just feel like I'm enriched more when I get to know somebody. I think that's the way we should look at life in general, is meeting people to make our lives better too. And so that's probably the most rewarding part of my job. And also, if I could help somebody, because at the end, that's why I'm here. So if I could make something better for somebody, that's a huge, huge plus for me.
At Sarah Scott, we have a lot of activities planned for the month of February. What does Black History mean to you?
You know, it means a tremendous amount to me. And I look at Black History Month, and I personally think we should be celebrating diversity and culture every month. And it shouldn't just be one month that we look at that, but I just look at the rich history of African American studies in the United States and think we could learn a tremendous amount from looking at those different parts of history. And when I was a social studies teacher here, that was something we concentrated on in the spring. For the entire spring, I would have my students research different individuals in history that really displayed a lot of diversity. And I just love showcasing that. If you know, for example, music for me is very important. I love music. I like a lot of different forms of music. And we could learn so much from music, whether it's rap or jazz or blues music. We could learn a lot about our culture, our history, just through music alone. And you think about what African Americans have done for music over the course of history of the last 100 years. And I think we can appreciate better their contributions by looking at that. So Black History Month is extremely important. I'm glad you're celebrating it here so much. I would encourage our community to celebrate it as well. But also, look past the month of February. Look before the month of February to find ways to celebrate that also.
Is there an African American in history who made a big impact on you?
Oh boy. I would say probably Frederick Douglass, probably more than anybody, because you know, he was a former slave, and he rose to a level where he became extremely influential in a time where probably most African Americans at that time didn't have a lot of influence, but he rose to a level of influence where he was influencing policy and also our government a tremendous amount. And just the thoughts and the writings that he had have really had a lasting impression on me. Just the other day I was watching TV and I saw Colin Powell. And Colin Powell rose to the highest level in the military. And he is extremely impressive, but the influence he has had on the military to allow other African Americans to rise to very high levels in the military was a game changer for our military and also African Americans in it. So he's widely influential too. But you know, I look at musicians. I like a lot of jazz music. I listen to it. Thelonious Monk is a big one. If you haven't heard of him, give it a listen. He is excellent. Miles Davis is another one. So I like music a lot, obviously, and I see a lot of influence there too. So I could probably go on about those influences.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Woo! So I'm 52, so that'll be 57, maybe 58. You know, I don't know. That's a really great question. And right now, the superintendent's job is open. So I have to decide whether or not I want to do that. Right now, I'm just interim. So I have to decide, should I put my name in the ring to do that? You know, put my name in the hat to decide to interview for those and possibly become the next superintendent? I haven't decided yet. So, but if I do, then I would hope I would still be superintendent if I make that decision. If not, maybe I'll be retired. I don't know. But I think I have a ways to go here, and I think I probably have another 8 or 10 years to work. I know Mr. Smodella probably has another 15 to 20 to go. But I got some big decisions to make here, and I'm not alone in that probably.
You'd be a good superintendent.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice of you to say.
Okay. Final question per request of smell.
Okay.
What's the weirdest sound you've ever heard?
The weirdest what?
Sound.
Sound I have ever heard. I don't know. He's looking for an answer. I know he is. I don't know. It's just he stumped me. I don't know. He's gonna come in here and help.
The question was, what's the funniest sound?
Oh, funniest sound. I don't know. I suppose somebody's laugh. So when I laugh really hard, I snort. You have to get me there. So that's probably a funny sound. I don't know what the answer of that is. I would say probably that, but that's coming from me, so it's a sound I make.
Yeah, there's not an answer you can come.
I was at Ivy Tech the other day, and I was on the phone, and somebody made me laugh, and I started snorting, and there's people around, and it was really kind of, it was a little embarrassing, but still funny to me. So I have one question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So both your parents went here for school, and what is something that you have done here that maybe your parents have that did here?
Well, I made a big impact with my confidence. Probably like my mom, because I strive to try and be like her. And I've told her when I was younger that I'm going to be like her, and she told me to be my own person.
Yep.
But she's my favorite person, so I think I should be like her.
And you look like your mom, and your mannerisms are like your mom, and I hadn't had your mom in class for probably 25 years, but I could still see that in you. I just want to say one more thing, if I could. Mrs. Brown, you had asked me before about people that have probably influenced me, and she's one that certainly has. I had her children when they went here, and they are great, great kids, and I just really cherish my relationship with Mrs. Brown. She is, hopefully, for you guys see her as a very positive influence, because I know I always have. So I'm just happy to be here, and I appreciate the interview today. This has been fantastic. It's my first interview, and you got it. How about that?
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you again to Dr. B for joining us today. It was great to meet you from WSSN News. I'm Anna Morris. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, it's Valentine's Day. Better buy something.